something like that be done, just waiting for this 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's met with building and fire already in regard. He has to go through us before they can do it.
Yeah, because they have to, he has to sign a permit that.
Right. And as I said, the first floor area is a garage that J and M uses as an extra floor area.
See, it's a permit, so for the commission, it's a permitted use in the zone already, so he's just changing the use. And it's pretty clear on the record that there's no misunderstanding that this approval doesn't warrant, it's not reach the status of a fire marshal or building. Understands that, so. Just a question of whether the change of use is appropriate. That's the.
Anything else, commissioners? No question. All good, then if no other questions, I'll make a motion to ratify the change of use request from the office to the apartment on the second floor of the property located at 93 Cherry Street, applicant Naugatuck Construction LLC.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Yeah.
So the motion was made by Ricky.
All right. So 6:05. 6:05. All right, so to continue public hearing, the special permit application for the addition of 7,500 cubic yards of earth material for the property located at 0 Auburn Street, account number 049-1409, applicant Carlos Santos. Public hearing opens to 3/20/24, must close by 4/22/24 unless an extension is requested by the applicant.
Steve Santos, 28 Dorothy Drive, over in Connecticut. We revised our site map with the necessary changes from last month's hearing. We're looking to submit.
Right, so, David Process, land surveyor, 3 Drive, Oxford, Connecticut. So, we had a discussion, Paul did with you, Jim, regarding the, items that you had on the last meeting. And so what we did was we pretty much removed all the proposed items on there. So what we're left with is just, basically the existing conditions. Now, the only other factor here, or the issue was the fact that the siltation fence, I showed this as proposed. However, what I did was I put the existing location back on this map and made a note stating that that would be removed to the proposed location, which is inside the property lines. And I also put 3 trees that I found at the, towards the bottom of the site that had some fill around. Yeah. And I also have a couple of street trees, but I don't know if those were, or not for this, but I added those.
Just to add, the neighbor to the left of this property, Clarence at 192 Auburn Street, he's okay with the silt fence being there. And I dropped him off a letter with his signature, and the one on the right hand side, that will go by have been moved. Yes.
So what I just handed out to you is Jim Stewart's review that provided to me yesterday.
Yeah.
In regard to the print. And Jim made a few notations that he can go over on in regard to what he saw and would like to see for the print. So go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so I took a look at it, it's fine with my recommended conditions that ultimately they keep the grading less steep than 2 to 1. They remove those trees or replace them. since there's fill around them, they're gonna die at some point. That, we get a site plan, obviously, which we do anyway, but I figured I'd put it on there. That they actually stabilize the area if the construction hasn't begun, because we've had these things that they just drag on for years and don't get stabilized, so. That way they have 90 days to get permits and start construction, or they have to topsoil and seed the area. And I calculated an $8,000 bond, topsoil seed and silt fence and a construction entrance.
I'm good.
So
Good.
we did put that, if you noticed in your motion.
Yep.
Took that and put that into your motion. And I sent that to both you guys.
Yeah.
And we went over that.
You guys good with his findings?
I'm sorry?
Are you good with his findings?
Oh, yes, yeah,
Okay.
it makes total sense.
Yes. Okay, good.
Does it matter what trees they're replacing in the back?
Well, I'm not necessarily asking for the replacement, we can handle that during the site plan.
And then the site plan would be the new house construction.
Yeah.
Right, which would just come before us, before
Staff.
staff. Right.
Commissioners, anything else?
No questions.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
We gotta ask the public,
Was that?
Yeah.
public hearing.
That's
Is there any questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public?
No questions from me.
Are there any questions from the public? Okay,
Tonight it closed. Just gotta close the.
Yeah. so we're gonna close the public hearing for the special permit application for the addition of 7,500 square yards of earth.
750.
750 cubic yards of earth material for the property located at 0 Auburn Street, account number 049-1409, applicant Carlos Santos. It's closed. All right. I'll make a motion to approve the special permit application for the existing 750 cubic yards of earth material that was added to the residential property located at 0 Auburn Street, account number 049-1409 for a proposed single-family residential home, applicant Carlos Santos, with the following conditions. Number 1, finished grading for the property shall not exceed 2:1. Number 2, the existing trees that have fill placed around the trunks shall be removed or replaced. Number 3, a proposed site plan shall be submitted for appropriate approval prior to the future site development. Number 4, the area will be topsoiled and stabilized within 90 days unless site development has commenced. Number 5, a sediment and erosion control bond in the amount of $8,000 shall be submitted in a form acceptable by the borough attorney.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for the wording change.
Want to go to old business A?
Old business A.
So commission discussion, decision to set the bond amount at $15,411 for the sidewalk and landscaping improvements for the site plan modification application for the property located at 801 Rubber Avenue, applicant Nadeem Kahil. Did I say right? Yeah.
So I did provide to you the bond amount. In your packet, I did also send out to you, I believe the, change where he moved the sidewalk to. One of the things we did discuss last month was having the the sidewalk go all the way to the end of the property. And on the drawing here, it stops at, I think, the gravel roadway where the trash dumpster is. And didn't go all the way to the end. I talked to Nadeem about it a short time ago. And if we do want it to go to the end, we can just put a condition with the condition that the sidewalk goes all the way to the end of the property.
Is it, the site plan doesn't show it, what's the distance, like, probably like 75 feet?
Yeah, it's like 20 feet. 50 feet, I think, from where it ends to.
Yeah,
It goes from here to here.
Yeah, you could place a condition that's clear because it won't be shown on the map, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as the condition approval is clear, that's what it is.
Well, he's gonna have to submit a final as-built anyway.
Yeah,
With the pumps in and all that, and that will be on.
Okay, so that's an important additional condition, because we want to make sure that their land use office has a map that has everything on it, because in 5 years from now,
Yeah,
nobody will know. Because we wouldn't look back to the minutes and anything, they look at the map and see if there's compliance.
right, but we'll look at that to make sure the sidewalk is done, it's done to where we want it.
And he'll provide the evidence.
Right,
Mr. Chairman, we can put the whole walkway, that's what we picked up the zoning sign off from the building permit. So it will be recorded and it will have the final copy as well, same. With the show the walkway extend all the way to the property. That's no problem.
yeah.
I know like you said, we are not going to have a CO till like that, it shows the actual condition as well.
And the bond should be, because the sidewalk is increased, the bond should be increased to $22,000 for that additional sidewalk.
That's fine.
that'll be on top of the wetlands bond.
It's absolutely no problem.
So just change your wording to the 22, you'll make it 22 even?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll submit the new bonds as well.
And where are we extending the sidewalk to?
To the property line. Just put that with the condition.
And one big other requirements we had last time was that the sidewalk is now extend. Within the 10-foot
They
window.
already showed that.
That's what they did.
I couldn't tell by the size of this.
That's why he submitted the new plan.
Okay.
I think I saw that there was the trees you, let's see, the maple trees that you're gonna put in?
Yeah, on the drawing,
Yeah. Not sure, maple tree would. It'd be a good addition there. On this one,
It's our landscaping plan this year.
no.
Yeah, it's on the site layout plan.
I see shrub, ground cover planting.
See a tree installed.
Yeah, they've got three, I believe, one in either of the front.
Right.
The
The
front
side and
islands,
front.
or the side islands and one. Yeah, and the other, on the other.
So on their bond, they're showing 4 trees.
Yeah, 4 trees, exactly.
And I'm just trying to see where they are. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? So it looks like there's one. Those are probably the 4 things that are in the middle of the islands.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, the second, on 23, it's proposed maple plant with 3-inch diameter and 10-inch height minimum. The other ones aren't flagged, so I'm guessing they're all the same.
The other ones are the ground bushes.
No, I'm sorry, the same symbol. The
Yeah.
4 that you mentioned,
Yeah,
of the 4 that you mentioned, one of them have a label that says proposed maple tree planting with 3-inch diameter and 10 height, or I'm sorry, 10-foot height minimum. And the other ones aren't flagged, so I'm making the assumption that they're all the same.
So a maple grow to 20-25 feet. If you want.
Depending on which one, yeah, much bigger, it's depending on which one you get.
So I don't know that that's what we want there, especially four of them. The height and the fact maples tend to grow, their roots grow and wreck sidewalks. I'm not sure that that's what we want there. Something smaller, I would say.
That's fine, definitely. We can address on the final plan as well.
How about some aristocratic pear trees?
No, we don't like it.
No, we don't do those anymore. We know what they do is sanitary sewer lines, like we found out.
No,
Beautiful.
Yeah. We just have not heard of it. The inside joke, but
yeah,
yeah.
So I see 4 on sheet 5, which is the 4th sheet. I see 4, looks like stars on the top. But those are in the parking lot, so they wouldn't be trees. Okay, I just wasn't sure what those were. There must be something with drainage or
I
something.
mean, if you wanna condition that he'll plant the tree off our approved tree list, I mean, the engineering approved tree list,
that,
we could
that's
pick one of the
fine.
smaller trees.
That's fine. Maples would be troublesome in those areas.
Definitely, so we'll apply it to the ad and, you know, whatever the plan will change it.
Thank you.
We'll make the change on a plan before ad sign of the application.
So just, there is a list, a published list that the borough has, or acceptable tree list that the land use office has, and they'll share that with you.
Definitely.
And then you can review that with the land use officer before.
Sure.
And before you plant them, so that'll be the last thing you're doing out there anyway.
We'll make sure, you know, definitely, that's my plan.
And just a question on the bushes, is that a planter's bed for the bushes?
It's gonna be evergreen, that's right, like a low profile, so that way the visibility won't be an issue. And with all the snow and the weather condition, they are like 12 months like a presentable, so that's right.
Anything else, commissioners?
No, sir.
All right, then, I'll make a motion to approve the revised site plan for the sidewalk location and to approve a bond in the amount of 22,000 for site improvements in the form acceptable to the borough attorney for the property located at 801 Rubber Avenue, applicant Nadeem Khadid, with the following conditions: to extend the sidewalk to the end of the property line and the engineering approved tree list.
Someone,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll put those 2 things will be on the site plan.
Go.
Don't see Andy here yet, so you wanna wait? Let's see.
Yeah, let's keep on going.
Yeah. I was just saying, they're going down a little bit. Yeah. Because we have this.
So we'll jump to new business. All right, so the commission discussion decision for a site plan modification to add 3 storage towers to the side of the building for the property located at 162 Spring Street, applicant Vestulo Associates. Fine work.
Yeah.
Okay, so I submitted to you the application for the site plan modification for 162 Spring Street. They are putting in three round cylinder towers on a cement platform on the side of the building. I would assume they're storage for. So I'll just need your name and.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael Trombetta, and I'm with the store.
The store. So I gone over this with Jim. He had no concern for it. But you have those plans for it, it shows that they were just on a small area on the side of the building.
The area of new construction, where it looks like, so how does that impact those neighbors?
Well, it's three round towers. You might be seeing the cement pad they're going on.
On the second page of the print, there's a squared off area that says area of new construction. And it crosses over property lines. I'm curious how that is going to impact the neighbors.
Are there any neighbors here?
Yeah, there's a building directly in front and then there's that property in the back.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be near any neighbors.
No.
So there's a parking lot between them and the neighbor.
Yeah.
But
Who's owned by this property? This is where they park their cars for this building.
Well, no, it goes with the, and maybe I'm just reading this wrong.
certainly, sure.
Thank you.
It's right here. Yes, it should be.
This,
This is where,
no, I understand that that's where this is, but they're identifying this whole section as an area of new construction.
I think they were just putting the lines to show there's no, so
Nothing,
he's referring to where you wrote the word area of
You
construction.
know what, that's showing that when you go to the other page, there's exploded view of that area.
oh, okay.
So the work is
What they're actually doing is this.
I
limited to
understand.
this 16 by 50 concrete slab and that retaining wall.
Okay, so that's just to identify the
Yeah.
exploded view. Okay, no, that's, I kind of figured it was something like that, but because I saw the lines going over property lines, I wanted to make sure.
We probably could have done a better job of labeling that.
So that parking lot's gonna go away, or that just where?
No, not at all. Parking lot remains.
Okay.
Yeah, you see there's three circles are there?
Yeah, no,
That's the only thing they're doing.
Right. The side and the little sidewalk alongside of it.
Yeah.
That takes you to the stairs.
You meant to talk about the street line setback is 49.6 feet, and note that that's a variance has been obtained. Was that for the original building? Is that why you're putting it on your zoning note?
I'm sorry, I believe that's the way it is.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with your new construction anyway. That's the existing structure,
Correct.
right? Okay. That's right. Rezone. Yeah. And nothing to do with, nothing to do with your current additions that you're seeing. Right.
No, it's just a concrete slab with the proposed tanks and the sidewalk with the retaining wall there.
How long do you think it'll take to complete the project?
How long? Well, I believe that this is the process where you're gonna give me permission to go to get my zoning, building, and fire marshal okays, and then to tell you the truth, the job is. No,
Is there sound that, engine sounds or motor sounds with these?
no, not really. I mean, there'll be a concrete truck on it for.
No, I mean with the tanks.
Oh,
Is it-
no, no, in fact, I think they even have another one further down. And that's already existing there. This is just a storage tank that they keep their product in so that they can. Feed their factory with the product they need to make their. Their goods there.
So there's storage tanks there.
That's all.
And there's not gonna be any impact to the traffic right there. Spring Street's just kind of narrow. All the equipment and everything will be off the roads.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, commissioners?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion that the site plan modification application is not a significant activity for the property located at 162 Spring Street, applicant Costello Associates.
So,
Second.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
We got the next one too.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan modification for the 3 storage cylinders to the north side of the building for the property located at 162 Spring Street, applicant Costello Associates.
So, second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you all.
Thank you. So we'll go to new business C. Accept the special permit application, refer to the planning commission and set a public hearing date for Wednesday, May 15th, 2024 at 6:10 for 2 proposed interior lots for the property located at 0 Main Street, account number 000-3501, applicant RZ Enterprises LLC.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, nice to see everyone. This is that we thank you for the zone change, and this is the subdivision we're coming in for, which requires the 2 rear lots. One of the rear lots is 29,000 square feet, and the other one is 747,970 square feet. But I think that's just the rest of the subdivision, we're putting that in that rear lot. The access ways, one is 30 feet wide, the other one's 50 feet wide, so they meet all those requirements that are set on your regulations. The subdivision itself, we're starting out with, there'll be 5 lots on the road and 2 rear lots. There'll be sidewalks along Mulberry Street, which are kind of like, there'll be sidewalks up there now, but there'll be sidewalks on that side of the street. And there is some property that's also going to go to the abutting neighbors, the Farrells. They had always used a sliver of their property as a parking space, and Mr. Farrell, who was at the public hearing, made that known to me. So we cut out a little pie shaped piece on his property that we're going to transfer to him. As you look at the map, it's the Farrell property, Brian and Franklin and Farrell. So and all the lots, except for one, are well over 15,000 square feet. I think they're all 20,000 square feet or better. The ones on the street, the one closest to the curb kind of gets eaten up a little by the curb, and we're doing 15,000 square feet. So we all meet the basic requirements of the regulations, and we're looking forward to having our public hearing next month.
Just a quick question. New business C, just I want to make sure the text is accurate. C says 0 May Street, and this is for 0 Mulberry Street, correct?
Oh, yeah, it should say. It should say Mulberry, yeah.
Okay.
It is 0 Mulberry.
0 Mulberry Street,
Okay, now I'm just, I want to make sure the notes are accurate, that's all.
And even, and before you, and again, you're just receiving and accepting tonight. If you, and on your map, I highlighted the 2 interior lots, just so you can see where they were. So please bring this next month with you. All right, this application, because it will be for next month for a public hearing.
during the hearing.
just one.
That's make sure.
Shit, you're right, it is. Oh, no, sorry. Apologies. And just for future reference, if that 50-foot access way to, lot 3, I guess it is. If that's for a future roadway, you'd have to include flares at the end for your radiuses. If it's a driveway, it's fine, but if it's ever a chance of it being a roadway, you'd wanna include those.
For the flare, we're also, including turnarounds on both of those interior lots, for prior marshals requirements. So both of them will have a turnaround for any equipment that would have to go up into those lots, so that we remove that. But I'll make, Wayne Zorley aware of that.
So before you go to any motion, Mr. Chairman, you talked about not being here next month on the 15th. With the possibility that we would do a special meeting instead on Tuesday, the 14th. So I don't want you to make a motion for the 15th and you're potentially looking because you could be here on the 14th. So if you guys wanted to just discuss that amongst yourselves or go along with the 15th and Eileen as vice chair, you would run the meeting next week.
Right. Can you guys do the 14th or do you want to just keep it at the 15th?
Whatever you need.
I'll go with the
I'm
body.
okay with the 14th. I'm all set.
Okay, so
Okay, so we'll make it the 14th. I'm pretty sure the room's available and we'll, if not, we'll use the room next door if we have to. So just in your motion,
Yep.
switch where I put May Street again, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
think of my own house. Because I'm on May Street. Or I copied and pasted something over. And just change the date to the 14th.
Yep, that works. Anything else, Commissioner?
No, sir, no, sir.
All right, then I'll make.
No, question, you talked about the flares on that, is there any reason not to keep it without that, but change it if they do more work?
I mean,
Does it matter?
well, once you've sold the 2 properties, then you can't easily,
take from-
get it, and now you.
So you want to clear the street ends.
Yeah, basically, there's a radius requirement on the roads, and you can't do that within a 50-foot right of way.
Just on the ends of the 50 foot.
Especially if sidewalks are going in the area, so
Yeah.
if that's a possibility in the future, it just makes sense to do it now, if it's not, then.
I
we're not.
agree, I agree.
That might affect that lot right there. So you may move that line down. You see that 15,000?
Yeah, I think
line, you're gonna be close when you do that flare. But you have plenty of square footage on the rest of the property, so you have plenty of.
Engineers like straight lines,
Yeah, I know.
but lawyers, we like to bend, and I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah, you got plenty in front of it.
Well, my other thought would be is, since the applicant would own all the lots to begin with, couldn't she just put an easement on each lot? To be able to do that, if she wanted, if they couldn't be done, but that's for them to decide, not us.
I mean, typically, retaining sloping rights and things like that are difficult, but for a flare, I don't think that's gonna work.
Okay. It's pretty easy to accomplish here. I think that's great right there.
Yeah, I don't know your spacing on the other lots, you know, what you're put there. To go, that's up to you guys. I'm sure we'll have another map by next month, if that's gonna be done.
And can you talk about the road? Like, you were going to widen the road, right? Is that what's going on?
Well, there is some property going to the borough, but
Right,
there will be a sidewalk on the roadway there as much as we can. The bigger problem is across the street from the subdivision, I'm told. And the street line actually takes into people's yards and things like that. So we're gonna do the best we can with that, to move it back. The houses, we're trying to set back further off the road, help with sight lines and things like that. We talked about it, so public hearing, yeah.
so are you trying to expand it at all?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I just don't know, there is some, there's some going to sidewalk and there's some going to road, so there's gonna be some sort of expansion.
And that would be done through the planning commission by subdivision.
Sure, because we'll just
But they can't go there until they get the two interior lots.
Right. Because that was one of the bigger concerns with residents, with that road being so windy and dangerous, especially in the winter.
I agree. In the subdivision process, we're gonna look at all that in more detail, and the planning commission will look at it more thoroughly. But when I explained it to Mr. Zaroli, I explained the comments when I came out of the public hearing. Thanks.
Right, they don't. Yeah,
Is that, and just because of no notification, that corner right there, is that where that big rock sticks out?
It's kind of like where there's an S turn,
Yeah.
is through, that's all that land there.
Like across the street from that's where that basically goes straight up. Or am I thinking of
A little bit.
There's a grade there. Step forward, right?
Okay, all right.
And the property does sit up a little bit, but it sits up a little bit, then it goes down very quickly into that curve and then so the Farrell house. So it comes down pretty sharply. So anything that happens there will take a little bit of that curve out of that road, so it's gonna help, period. So guys, check, dig back into the hillside.
Anything else, commissioners?
No, sir.
No.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the special permit application, refer to the planning commission and set a public hearing date for 6/10 on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, for two interior lots for the property located at 0 Mulberry Street, account number 000-3501, applicant RZ Enterprises LLC.
so,
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes, I see that there. So, but it's all good now.
Great.
This is accepted on out.
Oh, okay.
We'll do more. Commission accept the application for a text change to the Naugatuck land use zoning regulations to add residential treatment facilities as a permitted use in a B1 zone. Add a definition of residential treatment facilities and add a parking standard for residential treatment facilities. Refer to planning commission and set a public hearing date for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024 at 6:15. Applicant Heritage Downtown LLC.
So this is what I did give to you. The folder I gave you tonight, there's two things in that folder. One is for the text change. And the other is the application, which you'll be doing after this. And then again, the text change is to allow a residential treatment facility in a B1 zone. And then it is also for the parking standards. And I don't think there's nobody, well, I don't know if he's gonna speak on it for that. No. We're just accepting it and setting the public hearing for next month for the text change.
I'm sorry, could you say the text change again, please?
This would actually be inside this building.
Yes. So the proposed text amendment, which would be on this page, would be an institution licensed by the State Department of Health for the care or treatment of substance abuse or dependent persons pursuant to section 19A-495-570 of the regulations of Connecticut state agencies and or a mental health day treatment facility, intermediate treatment facility, and psychiatric outpatient clinic for adults pursuant to section 19A-495-550 of the regulations of Connecticut state agencies. And this is what they are proposing to go into our chart. And then section 26, which has our parking section and our regulations. They were to create 26 point, or I'm not sure if it's there, 26.5.5 hospital convalescent sanitarium, and then they're adding residential treatment facility wording, because I believe the one space for each 3 beds for patients and located in the same lot with the building, and verbiage is there. They're just adding the word residential treatment facility for parking. And again, this is not a borough initiated change, it's an applicant, so they will be doing their own property.
From the definition of residential treatment facility, they came up with the definition, substance abusive. It's really not the language.
That's a questions for them.
Oh,
So right now, we're not, all we're doing is, this is actually accepting the application.
We're accepting the application and setting a public hearing for next month.
And are they here or?
I think there's a possibility that one of the owners of the building next door might be online, but again,
Doesn't matter.
testimony would be next month anyway.
Okay. I would agree with you, I'd like to understand a little bit more about that myself. I like the idea, I just don't understand where it came from.
All right, then I'll make a motion to accept the text change application, refer it to the planning commission, and set a public hearing date for 6:15 on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, to add a residential treatment facility as permitted use in a B1 zone, and to add the definition of residential treatment facility and the parking standard for a residential treatment facility to the Naugatuck Land Use Regulation applicant Heritage Downtown LLC.
so moved.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Then I'll make a motion to accept the special permit application, refer it to planning commission, and set a public hearing date for 6:20 on Tuesday, May 14th, 2024, for a residential treatment facility for the property located at 58 Maple Street, applicant Heritage Development LLC.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And that's the second thing that's in your folder there.
Yep.
It's their special permit application because they're requesting it to be a special permit use in their text change.
All right, so
Yeah.
we go to new business E, accept the special permit application. First,
You just did that.
we're doing that. Commission discussion decision for proposed site plan modification to construct an access road and parking lot for the property located at 12 Spencer Street, applicant Borough of Naugatuck.
You want to bring that plan up or? Or Jim? What do you think?
I don't have,
Oh, you gotta get out, Jim.
Okay.
and I don't know how to even Parking lot, this one?
Yeah. This one. No. We don't. But this is the part three. Part three. This is, there's two things for industrial park.
Yeah, I see it.
No.
That's it, we just gotta page down, look at the sheets.
I will up on the first slide. That's. Started? Yep. Thanks. For the record, Brian Baker with Civil One, a licensed engineer in the state of Connecticut. We're working on behalf of the borough for the Naugatuck Industrial Park subdivision. So this, what you have in front of you is an existing conditions map. Then the application that we're talking about now for the site plan modification has to do with the Lanxess property. So on this existing conditions map, you can see it's a parcel, sort of a dumbbell shape that sits in the middle of what's gonna be the proposed subdivision. Yeah, so this is the Lanxess building here, and then they've got this strip coming back to their other building here. Currently, their site is accessed by a driveway with an easement over the borough's property that's gonna be subdivided. So in order to do the subdivision of the property, we're actually gonna take their driveway and make that Elm Street extension. So we need to provide them with access to connect the building. So if we go to C 2.0. One more.
Let's put it back.
There you go. Yeah, so this is the site plan, sheet 2.0, which is the proposed condition. So this shows, what will be Elm Street extension, that will serve lots for the subdivision. And then what's the, a part of this application for site plan modification is to create this driveway coming in to service the two buildings as well as the parking lot. 70 space parking lot for Lanxess, so all the detailed site plans are included in the plan set, your grading, drainage, erosion control. So basically, they're gonna have their own driveway and access on their property, and their own parking area there. There's no expansion of their facility per se, as far as use or number of employees or anything. It's just providing a site plan improvements so that they have their own access on their own property. And then that gives the borough the ability to improve Elm Street, improve their driveway, which is actually 30 feet wide now. So it's gonna require some improvements to make that Elm Street extension to serve the subdivision lots in the future.
Yeah, their parking for their facility was cross Elm Street in that parcel that was sold to the lumber yard.
Right.
Currently, there's still parking there, but part of the town agreement was that we would build them this road and replace their parking lot. And they needed, because of what they do, they move chemicals from one building to another. So they want they need a private access way to do that. That's why it's separate in itself of all the other roads. And it's not a road, it's gonna be a private, on private property, private driveway built by the town.
Any questions, Richard?
As far as the timeline or background goes, we are in front of the planning commission for the subdivision. They accepted the application. They have a hearing set for May 6th. The goal is to open and close the hearing and get that subdivision approved on May 6th. So the borough can begin construction. Some of the subdivision infrastructure, because there are some timelines where they need to begin construction in order to have certain availability for state and federal funding, so the timeline's a little critical.
This PR building, that's what's there now? No, PR building, so that's, that, any of these brown boxes are the proposed subdivision lots, so.
I don't understand. Cherry Street Extension, that looks like it's right across the street, but I know it's not.
It's up top here.
Cherry Street Extensions is up top, so the length
That
of
building's right
parcel,
across the street from Cherry Street Extension.
that's part of the subdivision, not part of the site plan
Oh.
modification. That's a future lot, future building, once the.
These four buildings are future buildings?
All potential.
Where's the building that's here now?
Right here, there's a building here in gray. That's a Lanxess parcel, and then the building back here in gray. These are the two existing Lanxess buildings.
Really?
So this is our Lanxess building, this is their driveway, and this is the house. So this is the proposed driveway.
There's the two buildings on Spencer Street. One was Lanxess and one is another company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this is the Lanxess.
Kuhn and Nagel.
There's a, logistics company.
That's
Kuhn and Nagel.
Yeah, Kuhn and Nagel is the top one.
Yeah.
Lanxess was the bottom one, and then they always had their building in the back, because this was all their property at one point. They're sold it to the borough
So
for
this is going
$1.
down where they're doing the digging now? They're digging, what are they digging there?
You talked about the framing?
The water control.
I mean, they're doing
The
really.
treatment plant?
Cherry Street Extension, they started digging by the driveway. And they stopped because they said they ran out of money.
Oh, no, that's drainage.
Okay.
That's the Cherry Street Drainage Project, which is actually tying into the drainage here. We didn't run out of money. We actually have more money. We're trying
Yeah.
to take the additional grant funding and go further with the
But
project.
that's not where that building is.
No,
Well,
know-
that building's further down. It's close. It's close. That
It is close.
area, that area that's open,
Yeah,
that's like a laydown area for
Yeah.
construction, that's where that building is going.
Oh,
Much
okay.
bigger lot, but that's basically the
Okay.
edge of that area.
I got you.
the Lanxess buildings are
Yeah,
already
I
built.
lost my bearings there for a minute, okay. That's all, thank you.
I should have mentioned for sort of scale of the project, so the Lanxess parcel is a little over 9 acres. And then the remaining subdivision parcel is 49, a little over 49 acres.
And you said that is part of the deal for the land, that's why Naugatuck is paid for this. Right,
Yes, yeah, because they originally owned the whole parcel, obviously, and to make the deal work, they wanted both of these buildings to remain. So to make the subdivision work, we needed to have that existing driveway as part of the subdivision, or else we'd lose significant part of the property. So we agreed that the borough would relocate their parking, because one of the lots we bought has their parking lot out, and so they have no parking. And provide them with their own dedicated driveway between the buildings, because they get in their golf cart and they go back and forth and they carry chemicals and products back and forth that they don't want to have to register with the DOT and transfer it on a public road, because now they've got to get a permit to transfer this chemical down the street 300 feet. So that's the reason why it's a separate dedicated road.
and this is completely, this is their responsibility, we don't plow it,
Once
we
it's
don't.
done, we don't do anything. Yep.
So we just build it.
Yeah, I mean, there's, in the future, 15, 20 years from now, 5 years from now, who knows? They're talking about potentially maybe selling the buildings. Who knows? At that point, maybe it's on town road. If the buildings are different owners, they don't need the same thing, it does provide some more passage through there, so, at some point, who knows? But at this point, no, it'll be theirs.
Lanxess wanted a way to keep the two buildings on the same parcel. So they are connected together by the road, so they have around their building with the parking lot, and then they own the strip of land that goes down to the other building.
And they want limited access of other people. Right.
On C 2.1. Is that building?
C 2.1 is further, no, you have to go to,
That's further down.
See 2.2, Neil,
C 2.2 is
your next
the
page.
larger building where the
That's not.
lay down area and.
Okay, what's a buffer there?
It's across from Ann Street,
Yeah.
look off of this driveway.
Are those residents gonna be looking at the building?
Well, that's gonna be
That's-
handled, that'll be handled with the site plan.
Oh, okay.
The site plans are gonna come back
All right.
for approval as each building is sold. Lot is sold and designed, it comes back and you guys get to look at the proposal.
Right now, it's one parcel.
Yeah.
That proposed building is at the maximum square footage, what's that for?
No, that's a large building, but it's not the maximum.
Okay, so the building could be
Smaller,
smaller than that.
bigger.
And we have setbacks and, setback
Right,
requirements that
anything
mean that.
After the lots are created with the subdivision, then they will get, on the market, the borough will make deals with whoever's gonna come in and move their business there. And then they'll have to develop a site plan, it'll come before you and they'll have to meet all the zoning requirements.
Right, each individual
Each individual lot.
lot will have to come back before us.
Oh,
Right, so this item on your agenda is for the modification to the Lanxess site plan so that they can get their driveway and parking.
So what happens over here at the end of Elm Street Extension? It looks
one
to
you
be, a driveway that goes, C 2.0. Where Elm Street Extension goes into a dead end, there appears to be a driveway to the north.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
so the two driveways are going to cross right there?
Yeah, there's an access easement gonna be provided across the Lanxess driveway at the end of the cul-de-sac, and that's for truck traffic for this parcel. The larger parcel 9, and Lanxess has agreed to that.
Is there any type of, signage that's gonna be going there, stop signs?
Yeah,
pedestrian, all that
there'll
stuff?
be stop signage and appropriate traffic.
Yeah, potential gates and things.
And just so, because like to your point, you
Yep.
said golf carts, we're talking trucks going over.
Yeah,
into the-
exactly. It's all be determined about exactly what.
Yeah, the bank with it, okay.
How it's gonna be handled. Yeah, definitely stop signs, definitely, some control of traffic going through there.
And who would have the responsibility for the stop signs and the maintenance of that stuff? Would it be Lanxess or would it be that building owner? I mean, that's all private driveway at that point, but
That's a good question. It depends on who's stopping. I'm assuming that the trucks are gonna have to stop, so they'll be on either part of the driveway, so I'm assuming it'll be put on the person whose driveway it is. Cause they're that lot's the only one using it, so.
okay.
Yeah, when the subdivision gets completed and the easements are executed, then the easements will have to be drawn up as to whose responsibility is what for.
And there'll be a maintenance and operation.
Right,
kind of
detail.
conditions.
Right now, it's simply identified as an access easement in favor of lot 9 over the Lanxess driveway at that location, and Lanxess has agreed to that.
And that was done to keep truck traffic off of Cherry Street extension.
And then it does look like that, and I could be reading this wrong, so that's kind of why I'm asking. It does look like that proposed Lanxess Drive continues all the way down to the access road, or does that break off there? I'm not sure.
It's a second exit.
So there, right, currently it does head down into, this is a open lot that's adjacent to the sewage treatment plant. And now there's kind of a rough driveway coming down. We're gonna keep their driveway to this point. Once it leaves their property, we're actually gonna build them a secondary means of egress down to the access road.
Yeah,
Is there a
originally,
possibility?
originally the subdivision was designed differently. You wanna show them the original road layout?
Yeah, I
That
don't
dark parcel?
have that here, but originally there was a road, a full 30-foot wide subdivision road that was gonna be a T intersection. This was gonna come up and have another road come through this way.
Yeah, but because of the grades, that road was costing
There
us
was
$6 million or
Very.
something, so this was the only reasonable way to get everything to work and not have to and a huge amount of fill, and would also hurt the lower lots, because you'd be putting a fill in and building a road up.
There was also wetlands.
And wetlands.
There was wetlands in that spot.
Exactly.
So
Is the dog pound staying?
Yes.
I mean, it's because people do take a wrong turn and stuff like that, it's just, I'm curious as to the impact of, this is an industrial area, so you have 18-wheelers that may make a wrong turn. If they hook a right here, is there gonna be any issues with, is it being planned for that type of traffic?
There'll be appropriate signage on all the roadways, and also you're into the planning commission's purview, right? Because we're going to the planning commission for the subdivision, and they'll look at all that, and Jim will also, yes, this.
They come down now, they turn around, they got no problem. What's there now, they turn around.
Right,
I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
and there will be a full cul-de-sac created at the end here, or vehicular turnaround. It'll still provide access to the trucks that go to the treatment plant now. Because there is the road that comes, there's that access road that comes through here now. It'll be realigned and improved to subdivision standards. Now it's kind of a beat up paved, broken paved road, so it'll be, built to the full subdivision standards. With all the utilities we put into service those lots on the lower tier.
For this purpose, though, we're only looking at the Lanxess
Right.
area and the parking lot.
So the solar farm is out, huh? It was a solar farm that was supposed to go there years ago.
Yeah, that's the tire lot.
Remember that?
It was on the tire lot.
Yeah, that's right.
We went right back to you. Right. Anything else, commissioners?
No, sir, thank you.
All right, then I'll, make a motion that the site plan modification application is not a significant activity for the property located at 12 Spencer Street, applicant Borough of Naugatuck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'll make a motion to approve the site plan modification for the proposed road and the proposed parking lot for the property located at 162 Spring Street. With 12 Spencer.
You must have copied and pasted again when I do that.
All right, hold on.
12 Spencer.
Yep. That's it. All right. I'll make a motion to approve the site plan modification for the proposed road and the proposed parking lot for the property located at 12 Spencer Street, applicant Borough of Naugatuck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Good job.
Thank you.
All right.
You're just starting, I don't know.
All right, so, new business. G, commission discussion decision for a soil erosion plan for the Naugatuck Industrial Park Phase 3 for the property located at 280 Elm Street, applicant Borough of Naugatuck.
Again, for the record, Brian Baker, we talked about the same project, but talking a little more about what we got into with the subdivision itself, so we could pull up. So we were before the planning board for subdivision approval, but you get a shot to look at and review the erosion and sediment control plan, which is what we're here for. So in the full set of subdivision plans, you go down to like.
And let's do this again.
You can, almost.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already in the conditions.
And we're going, how much do that?
4.0. Yeah, so the 4.0 series of the plan set is the erosion and sediment control plans. As this is a subdivision, again, as mentioned previously, after it's subdivided and each lot is created, when a purchaser comes in for a development, he's gonna have to develop a detailed erosion control plan, storm drainage plan for that individual lot. We've shown you schematic plans on the individual lots. With silt fencing, stockpiles, temporary sediment traps, et cetera. what's actually gonna be constructed as part of the infrastructure for these plans is, as mentioned previously, Elm Street extension. We have erosion control measures in place, including silt fence, water bars, silt sacks for all the catch basins, temporary stockpiles. So all those are in place for the actual construction of Elm Street extension. The proposed Lanxess Drive, which we just talked about. The 60-inch pipe, there's a 60-inch storm drainage pipe that's coming off of Cherry Street that the improvements are under construction now. And those are gonna be extended through the subdivision and down to the outlet. That's part of these subdivision improvements. We're showing temporary seating and erosion control blankets on all the slopes, silt fence and hay bales, especially adjacent to the small wetland area that we have here. And then the other part of the infrastructure improvement would be ultimately be the construction of the access road, and all the erosion control measures are shown in place on that. So the larger amount of work on each, so these are more longer linear construction projects to do the infrastructure work. And then the larger sort of earth moving operations would be as the lots get developed, and they'll come in with individual erosion control plans. And Jim has had a chance to look at the erosion control plans. He has a memo that we don't have, don't take any issue with. We can incorporate it, adding some details, and identifying the fact that, again, each lot's gonna have to come before you with a detailed erosion sediment control plan as they get developed.
I provided that memo in your packet to you, and we made it as part of the conditions.
Yeah, and again, one of the conditions and being that it's such a large site, it's gonna have to go to DEP for a general permit for soil erosion control. So it's gonna get yet another review, from DEP. If there's any other issues, they will flag them.
Anything else, commissioners?
No, sir.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the soil and erosion plans for the property located at 280 Elm Street, applicant Borough of Naugatuck, with the following conditions. 1, each individual lot shall submit an E&S control plan to the engineering department for review and approval prior to construction. Number 2, the soil, erosion, and sediment control signature block shall be added to the sediment and erosion control plan. Number 3, additional information shall be added to the temporary riprap swale detail, including the depth and size of the riprap specified, as well as the dimensions required. Number 4, provide a hay bale detail. Number 5, provide wings on the silk fence in areas required as per the S&E guidelines. Number 6, a state of Connecticut DEP erosion control permit shall be obtained for the project prior to construction. And number 7, provide additional construction entrances at the entrance to the WWTF and at the access road to Elm Street connection.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
All right, so let's go to new business H, commission's decision, discussion decision for the architectural review approval, revised bond estimate for site improvements and revised landscape plan for the mixed-use residential commercial development for the property located at parcel B, Old Firehouse Road, applicant Penrose LLC.
So I have some stuff to hand out to you. That we've gotten in the past, that we received today. Where did I put this stuff?
We're doing the architectural rendering now.
So, yeah, we have three different things. We have architectural rendering. You've got that. You want to get out of this? Really do. Right, because it wasn't in your packets.
We copied it.
I've got three, we may just have to share, but some of the stuff that's in this, we can't do anything. So we'll just look at it off of the site here for now. And the reasons why is we just got in. I'll just wait for her to get out of this.
You haven't taken any notes? Everything up here?
Yeah.
Wow,
Just a little bit.
you must be young.
We can watch the video later.
Wonder why he gets all the quotes correct.
And Michelle's gonna make him a flip note, so perfect. Thanks for letting them know. Cahoots, I think. He just writes the whole story.
I don't know, Jim has.
Yeah, that's the core.
All right, so I'm gonna turn to this one first, and if you guys want to share. Or did I get it?
Eileen, I can't open it or.
Oh, I did get it.
Eileen, it's really colored, there's a 3D rendering on it.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I had it in time or what I did. There's so much on this.
They made the changes. Yeah.
So, getting to the landscaping plan first. We did receive, and Jim had asked that we need some time to look at this landscaping plan to make sure. Jim, correct?
Yeah, but the thing is, the landscaping plan, you gotta make sure that it meets our needs as far as the remediation portion. Because certain areas have to be covered over and made inaccessible to the residents that live there. So we just need to make sure that it's all right, because it's different from what we originally approved. So we need a little bit of time to just review it, make sure that everything is correct. Because we're shortly gonna be going out to bid to go out and do some cleanup, so we need to know where things are, where trees are, where grass is, where the islands are, so.
So in December of 22, when we approved the project.
Yeah.
We did put a condition that the applicant shall submit a more detailed landscaping plan.
Yeah.
Showing the individual plantings and quantities, also provide a plant schedule, and I think this is what they were trying to do with this. But we haven't really had a good chance to review it yet,
So, yes, and
enough.
so in addition to that, as Jim said, the landscaping plan is directly connected to our remediation plan for the site. And so, I will recommend the commission defer on voting on the landscaping plan and also the bond estimate for it, because we think that landscaping plan is going to change pretty significantly based on, how we are remediating the property. So what plants go where, what type of plants and landscaping goes where is very important to our overall plan to remediate the property. So I want to ask the commission to defer on the second, the part of the motion that talks about revised bond estimate, and also the part that refers to revised landscaping. Regard the architectural review, I think that is something that I have no reason to ask the board to defer on that. That'll be up to the commission.
Yeah, the bond, when they sent, the bond request came to us because they had a landscape, and they wanted to reduce it by 25,000 because they reduced the landscaping part of it. So we should wait on that, like you said.
We don't know what the final thing.
Right, we don't.
It's the short answer.
We need to review the landscaping plan.
Okay.
And then part of the thing that we discussed back in December of 22, we also had a condition that we put that they should come back with a architectural plan better at the time for us to be able to to review them.
Yeah.
Plus, it had to go before the mayor and board of Burgesses. Because ultimately, they're the ones selling the property, they're the ones who did the RFP, they're the ones that met with these developers and whatnot to accept the project and all that. So, this architectural review has been brought before the mayor and board of Burgesses, and they approved it. So then they've now come to us, so I was told we can do that,
So we could approve the.
the architectural review part, and that's why I done it as 3 separate motions.
Gotcha.
So they're not here to talk about it and changes? I don't remember, I can see.
They are not here, they told me they were going to be here and they're not here.
Yeah, I texted them, for their defense, I emailed them and said, due to the fact that we just got the landscape plan, we need to do the checking, so I told them they probably wouldn't get that approved tonight, so that's probably why they decided not to come.
Okay, I mean, I would really like to see the materials that, I don't know if this white, I don't know, boards, if it's planks.
Well, they
It
did,
looked like tile when we first got it.
It's gray concrete brick, and then FC hardened plank
That's,
on the next page. It's,
Yeah. on
hardened
this
plank.
page here, they were.
It's a cement, product that's made.
Your cement plank looks like
Yeah.
wood, but it's like cement base.
Yeah, I like to see things, I mean. I don't know what this is, I'm not sure how it's gonna look in that big expanse. I'm just not sure it really looks at like what we have. I don't remember how it was changed. They had the bricks, they had that white, which looks, when we first saw it, looked like tiles. But obviously it's a plank, and the black planks.
So did they win their grant? Did they get the grant?
I don't know. Jim, do you know if they got their CH?
I don't think we've heard yet.
Right, because that was.
Pretty sure we haven't heard yet.
That was
They
due in
did,
January.
they
Okay.
capped the rooftop, so
Right.
I'm pretty sure they haven't, so it should be any day now.
It's a combo.
Yeah, it's just 3D rendering.
There's so many materials.
That Blue Star Memorial. What is the plan for that? That's a big deal for our Blue Stars, you know,
From what I understand, it's staying there.
it's being moved to the edge of the street.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be.
It's not on,
Yeah,
it's not even on this map here at all, that are on the front.
It is. But
No, no, it's here, but it shows it right on the edge of the street. And I understand it's a 3D rendering, so it's not the exact location, but it's not on this map. Right now, it is in bed a little bit, so I understand it's on their property, but it's, you know, part of that effort. But I would much rather see that, considering what that represents, I'd much rather see that, have a little bit more dignified home than just shoved into the sidewalks.
So I did, upload, Laura, you can't open it?
no, it's like. Are you talking about the?
There was a second one that there's 2 in there. One was a little bit more details that I got at 3:30 today,
That's the one.
but I don't know if Jim has that one.
Excuse me?
The one that came at 3:30 today. I put it on the thumb drive here, but you're saying you can't do it?
I can try to get that out.
No, you didn't do it.
I'm not gonna-
Is that
That's the one I got, it's 352.
Yeah, that's the one that I got, it's right here.
Not reason.
Yeah.
Or it's not supported or it's damaged.
Yeah.
So we'll have to ask them for another one.
That's, like I said, I got that today at 3:30.
Building.
Different ways of breaking it.
There are, like this. I mean,
All I could say is this went before the Board of Mayor and Burgesses and the NEDC. And they approved it.
I hear you, and I don't, just quite honestly, I don't think it represents what we have downtown. I mean, it's better than it was, but we're gonna have other buildings, down there, all these colors is just in the black.
So I think that's what they extend us. All right, the landscape plan.
That's page one, right, all this, the detail.
Well, we could keep it on for next month and tell them that we want more.
You can ask for the vote, and if everybody wants to vote at all, I won't.
What's the, I mean, we're not voting on the other two ones.
Right, you'd just be doing the motion for the
I,
top one. That's up to you guys.
yeah, I mean, I would just wait, right, I mean, why don't we have them, why don't we request samples that you could see?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand why, I understand it's a big building, but there's ways to break up a large masses of buildings without black and red and white, and then another kind of white.
That's pretty much it. About that.
Yeah, I mean, let's request ask the guys to bring samples first to look at, and then,
It's hard to imagine what it's gonna look like without seeing the samples.
I'd really like to understand what's gonna happen to them.
Well, that's all part of landscape. That's not the architectural.
No, I understand, it's part of, but it's still not part of the design. That's what I'm calling.
I agree. I agree. So they said that they were going to honor that and do it well.
Yeah, I asked that question and now, and again, I fully understand this is just a 3D rendering, I mean, how they have in the middle of a crosswalk, they're not gonna put it there. But it's just, it's disregarded too much for me to believe that it's going to have any place of honor or respect within this plan, so that bothers me. We're a very strong veteran community.
Right, so in regard to the landscaping plan, you want to see more emphasis put on the blue star.
I need to, I'd like us to be able
And
to.
that's in regard to the landscaping plan. In regard to the architectural rendering, you want to see some samples.
Sample, yeah, also ought to address, you were also saying you want to address the long spans, it looks like.
Well, just the tricolor thing going on there.
Okay, these are, I don't know.
The white has two different materials, Then you have the brick, the red, the brick, and then you have black. Black planks.
So I'm gonna let them know you want sample of materials.
Yeah.
And you'd like to know how the transition goes.
Well, I mean, it's hard to see, I mean, I'm seeing it on the paper here, it's hard to visualize what that will be in an expansive area. It just may be that I'm not going.
So how do the
Like that.
color changes transition?
That's it.
Well, I mean, I can see how they transition, I'm just not liking it, I mean.
But you know,
To be honest.
you might want to add something that includes is, what opportunities are there to break up that section of white?
Yeah.
And get rid of the black. I know black is in,
It's very.
black houses, and I get it, but I think it's gonna be a trend too.
So.
And we don't have trendy buildings in town, we have classic, well-done buildings.
Try to be building in there.
Classic.
The last trendy building we're sitting, I think that's just trying to.
Don't even, yeah.
And I think it'd be on their best behalf the plan to be here and not
Yeah,
contact us 72 hours before the meeting.
Yeah.
But I mean, you should.
This
ask
was their
everybody.
mistake, what they did in the last 4 days to us.
Everybody. Yeah, we agree.
So that's what I'll let them know.
Well,
They've done, they've done.
Conversation with them and let them know what
Do they have, did they do a building in that color?
I,
Like the one, I think they did one in Meriden, right?
The Meriden one,
they
It's
did
not that-
Torrington and Meriden, right?
Okay, so they're not.
this is 15,000% better than Meriden.
Oh,
I've been to Meriden, I've been to Warren,
okay,
and they have a generic, what they did.
okay.
This is, we went through that discussion,
Okay.
and this is a lot better. Now, I think this expands and colors are, I don't, that's a
So
whole
what
other
would-
thing,
what
but
would
it's the
you
long
want?
expanse.
What would you want to see, more red instead of the black and the white?
Maybe black changes too.
Yeah, the
Beige
black is
or-
not, I mean, wow. All that black, I haven't seen buildings that are black like that.
Any places they built that have this, the black and the red together or separate, so that you can see them in the actual photo.
This, you know what this reminds me of? Quarry Walk over in Oxford. If you've ever
Yeah.
been there,
Yeah.
they've got very stark contrasts there as well.
What is
As part of their accent, that's the whole of the property.
Right.
So it's not a black, it's a dark red.
Yeah,
Graphite, charcoal.
it's a very, that's right, a charcoal color. But a Quarry Walk is a good example of where they did break it up. You can see how.
Well,
they
that's, I think
architecturally-
that's part of what, I was saying was,
That looks good though.
Yeah.
I thought it looked
It
good.
does look good.
Yeah, I mean, the facade makes it look like they're individual buildings, and it's a very sharp
Yeah,
Right.
way to make it
yeah,
seem, you know,
Good.
less of a,
so
Long
so
Marshall.
that's something they can do here. Right, and it's not that expensive to do architectural details.
Yeah.
It's really not.
But I don't even mind one color with architectural breakups.
There you go, there's a good move for them.
But
That's a good idea.
I have any architectural sense, I would be an engineer.
Well, it's like something else, if you know it, you like it, if you don't like it, you know that, too, right? You know both, right?
so we're deferring.
Yeah, we're deferring.
All right. That's right, you're gonna talk now? Yeah, some about similar,
Yeah.
like every few photos, other, even,
classic,
So how do we,
colors, yeah.
how do we document that?
different colors, but.
We're just gonna email
You've always been one day.
Carmen Jolly, you know.
Add a few door.
Carmen Chong, who's the one generally we deal with. And I'm gonna mention to her about the landscaping plan to have the Blue Star Memorial area better represented on a landscaping plan. And then the architectural review, they want some, you guys want samples of materials. And how do you transition the color changes and break up the light look and
You can make a reference to the Quarry Walk discussion too, where they actually had it architecturally broken apart. So it's
well, they
still-
could have been here.
I don't disagree, but Mr. Stewart did say that, you know, he told them, and you probably don't have to be here, we got this too late, they're gonna defer it anyway.
Yeah.
So,
They were on originally.
oh, really?
I did see them.
Oh.
All right. Are we doing the Aquifer Protection Agency?
There is no meeting tonight for that. We may have one next month. There might be an application that comes in,
Okay.
just to let you know on that. But like I said, we're gonna have that every month on the agenda as to whether or not we have to go into the APA or not.
Okay. Chairman's report, Commissioner
What
comments.
about,
Oh, yeah, we get, so
He's not even here.
he did not come.
can't keep putting it off, I mean, how more money's left? Yeah.
So I guess we can go over what Jim and I went out there.
Hillside?
All right, old business C. Commission discussion for the soil erosion plan for 402 Hillside Avenue applicant Jennifer Findle.
So Jim, you and I went out there, it was March 26th. We talked about the silt fencing along, one of the things I requested was the silt fencing along the entire front of the property there, for except where the wall was. You did put that in. If you wanna, can you go to the pictures?
I can't, Jim.
Jim, can you get out again?
Yes.
So I did take pictures before and after storms recently. So we'll take a look at that there. Yeah. So there should be a good group of pictures that I have.
Not coming up, is it?
No, that's not what you're doing.
That looks all right.
You gotta go into my thumb drive.
House.
That's
Is that my yard?
That's the other one.
That's another one on this side that we're doing.
You got a lot of work to do.
On the goal,
402 Hillside Avenue. You're gonna handle this, come on.
which one is it?
So we'll just start going through some of these, and so this was before a recent storm. They were expecting a bigger
Jim, it's
amount of
not
rain.
No, it's working. Well, it was.
You're fine.
I think it came up. I think it'll come, I think.
All right,
You're right there.
no, Jim's computer's not saying.
So this was the silt fencing. After Jim and I went out there on the 26th, we asked for silt fencing along this side, which is the driveway side. And you'll see, and one of the things I took pictures of at this point was the sidewalk was cleared off of any silt. There was nothing there. Now, what was said to us by the property owner was that when he took over the property, that entire sidewalk area was completely overgrown and stuff had come all down, correct? That's what he referred to us at. If you go to the next picture, so that's, again, I was showing where the storm drain is. And on this, the plan, it did call for hay bales around. He explained the reason why he didn't put the hay bales was because there's no lights there at night. And we were afraid of cars hitting it, which I understood on that.
Put a silt sack in.
You could, and like I said, originally you only had the silt fencing up a little further. I requested it down the whole area there. Go to the next one. And that's showing the upper part there. Go next. And this is after a rainstorm that hit that weekend. This was recent that we had a bigger storm. And you can see how the silt did come down from his property onto it. I talked to him about that. I said, you gotta do a better job of keeping the silt coming, because we were discussing where the water was coming from. Go next. And that's again, the yard there. He has been working at grading it and doing what he's doing. Keep going. You can clearly see where water was running through this area. And this was the aftermath. One of the things he related to us is the water from the sidewalk can't get into the storm drain itself anyway. And it's been puddling there. And he was saying because the sidewalk is lower than the storm drain. All right. I was showing the area that how there was water behind. I think it was just going everywhere on its own.
Is that an existing wall?
He put this wall in. The yard went over. You didn't realize there was a sidewalk.
Wow.
From the beginning. Go next. And I was again just taking pictures of how the water is not able to get into the storm drain.
And it's like that sidewalk completely collapsed. Not completely, but I mean, it
Keep
looks like
going.
it's sunk.
And I was just showing how none of the silt is coming from the driveway side. It was definitely coming from the other side. And that's a view towards the other side, and you can see where the silt was up there. Now, he had done a lot more work on this, that he did reduce the amount of silt that was coming down compared to maybe 3 months ago or whatnot. Again, this is just more of the water that was there. And this is a recent picture where I was showing up in the back up there. Some of the work he's been doing up in the back. He has a storm, a gully down in there. His plan does call for silt fencing up on there. When Jim and I were there, the ground was extremely soft. We commented on that it was difficult to try and get machinery up there because it was just gonna give way. But hopefully now, maybe had a little less rain than what we've had. might make it a little bit easier. Go to the next picture.
Oh,
And this is more recent where he started being able to start seeding the area, trying to get it to grow in. And that could be about it. So I was just taking these are pictures all over probably the last 2 weeks before and after storms that had hit. On the plan. We brought the plan with us when we were up there and met with him about it. One of the concerns we had, we weren't sure if all the piping was showing that was on there. So this is Hillside Avenue here on the front side, all right? And there is off of Chestnut, a pipe that came down in. Jim, we saw the area where he pointed out to us in the backyard where there is a storm drain in the back of his property, all right? But is there supposed to be a pipe there, Jim, that's taking this, or is this like a swale?
There's a pipe there.
This is supposed to be capturing it, right? But is this storm drain then supposed to capture water up there?
Yep.
So the water that comes from here, is this where it's let out and then flows to just hopefully go
Yeah.
into this, correct? So there was water that came out of Chestnut Street, out of a pipe, let out onto the property. And the previous owner had been complaining about this issue. And then it's supposed to go into this catch basin, which supposedly was working, he said. He got it to work because he was able to clear up that area up in the top up there. And then it was supposed to go down into our system down here. We did ask that he put the silt fencing in the back, and that silt fencing, I don't have any pictures of that. I have talked to him about that.
No,
And it is not in, that's why I took that picture from the distance to show that. But he did put in that gully that he talked to you and I about.
Did he put the silt fence around those inlets just up from his driveway?
So I'm gonna get into that next. They're up in here you're talking?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there is no silt fencing up by there, no.
So he didn't protect those inlets, the grates and stuff.
Not that I'm aware of. I didn't walk up into it. What he talked to us about is how he's taken, like he referred to this area as where he had all his roof leaders going, correct? Into this piping here and going on down. He said he was replacing this pipe all along in here. He took his neighbor over here, had 3 pipes that was coming out onto the property. He was combining them all to go into this catch basin going down here. We wanted to confirm, finally, this catch basin down here is actually buried in the ground. And you had asked that we try and get to figure out what this pipe is, how the size of it is there. So everything that was shown on here, piping wise, was there. That was one thing we weren't sure. So I guess we can go back up to him again. He was supposed to be here tonight. To go over it some more. I don't know if he either forgot or whatnot, but we can go back up there to see exactly what more he's done since the last meeting that we've had with him, Jim.
I think what needs to happen is just a list of the things, the expectations that have to be done and a timeline to be done. I think that we can, do a dance every month of, did this happen, did this not happen? Are you going to show up? I don't think the commission is interested in doing that. And it's been at least a year and nothing is substantially different. So I think, all the issues that we've identified, list them and the timeline of expectations of change.
So on 3/26, I wrote down after our meeting with him that we said silt fencing front and back, pipe size going into the road from the driveway that I mentioned tonight, seed the property and appear at the 4/17 meeting.
So he didn't seed, he didn't do the silt fencing.
Well, he's done some seed.
But you also, I remember you said to start at the back, because if you fix the front and everything's coming from the back, then it's gonna fail in the front.
Exactly.
So I think that's what I'm talking about, is having the, gotta do this, that. How, and
Yeah.
the timeline.
He doesn't work in anyone else's schedule.
Correct.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You can say what you want to the guy.
I think that's, I
And
think,
it doesn't compute.
well, that's why we instituted fines years ago. But, you know, the fact is that that massive amount of water that sits in front of there for, you know, days after the rain.
And that'd be his responsibility, correct? With the nuisance, with the property to.
What we discussed that day was that was a different issue that have to be decided between him and Public Works in regard to the water at the sidewalk.
But did that happen?
Well, Jim, you.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna fix the sidewalk. We think that that's he's on and off that thing with machinery and all sorts of things. So he's gonna have to deal with that one way or another. Now, is it low because, the road was paved too high? In the 50 years it's been being paved, that could be an argument you could make, but still, hasn't been a problem in the past. I mean, they've had drainage problems on that property, but never had this amount of silt
Correct.
coming off of it.
Correct.
It's all based on the fact that he went there and he disturbed the whole property at
Correct.
Well,
once.
I mean, another point that you had too is that there was no sidewalk prior to him pulling that back, so over the course of the lifetime of that property along with that, at some point, all of that was back, otherwise they wouldn't have gotten a sidewalk under there. And then over the decades, that hill formed on top of the sidewalk, the weight that it was not planned for, pushed down on it, probably was never expected to have that level of compacting. But ultimately, all of that leads to the property owner. The sidewalk was there, the sidewalk was built property, it was never retained properly for decades. That's not necessarily his fault, but he did pick up the responsibility of it when he took over the value of the property. And so thereby, when the sidewalk's uncovered, that would mean that that's part of his effort to replace that section of it in front of his house from one end to the other. Unless I'm reading something wrong, that's.
So we can play tiddlywinks, you know, till the cows come home about, you know, if anything's ever gonna happen, it's gonna require us to make the conditions of what needs to happen with the timeline. And I mean, we do have consequences on the books, whether we use them or not, that.
So I would ask if the answer is that you want to start a finding procedure, I'm gonna ask the Borough Council to assist me on writing the actual letter that we would start the fines. We did issue cease and desist order with them. We've given them plenty of time to come in.
Where are you on that order? When did you issue the order?
That was last fall.
So we have to see as a list of progress, what's been done to date for compliance with that order before you can go further. I can see a list of that.
I mean, make the list, make a timeline, and then if he doesn't follow the timeline, then you sort of then.
Similar to our conditions, 1, 2, 3 through 10, the things that you expect. I mean, again, if he does the front, and he can't even
Well, I think
completely do the.
we gave him a list.
In February, you did give him a list of stuff, you sent.
Yeah, we wanted to revise
To him.
a revised plan and
You build
the
one
net
house?
requirements
Building one house?
and, we can.
One brick at a time.
We issued in November, we issued the cease and desist. February 12th, you issued what he had to do,
Yeah.
and I'm asking for assistance on this. I can't do everything. And
No,
that's,
I'm not, I'm just,
No.
There's no CO on this house yet. Ed, there's no CO.
it never went through us. It went through the building
No,
department.
I understand. I'm just asking, that's a matter of that's a public information matter. It's not something that this commission can control. I'm just wondering if there is.
Well, if he's limited, it's gotta have a CO, no?
Not
No.
necessarily.
Not necessarily, because he could still be under construction permit. I don't know where that's at.
And
it'd
that's,
be hard. to-
It was not a new house, it was a remodeled house.
Right. Oh, so,
Because it was a previous existing house that had several trees over the years fall onto it. Finally, the last one did it in.
And then,
It was the Clark house.
yeah, I know.
It was the Clark house. And
And then the other issue is that if he's supposed to
Yes.
extend it, if he's doing the front without doing the back, like you asked, he still has an area that he drives the truck on.
What he says is he can't get up for the top. And I can see that, I agree with him, he can't get up there because it's so wet and it's so soft and he can hardly walk up there.
Well, you give him
But
time,
this is bad.
but you give him,
Yeah.
you give him some time to do this because it's April, so you give him, it's gonna be drier.
Yeah,
so, right?
he should be finishing.
Should he be doing here?
He should be finishing his plan, so we know what he's gonna do,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I hate to tell a guy how to fix the problem, he should get an engineer, to have us tell him how.
I
And there's nothing stopping him from getting up there and throwing grass seed down, there's no topsoil, but at least if it drags out, it'll start to set. And there's nothing stopping him from putting silt fence around the open basins that are collecting. All those things are simple and easy. I would suggest, we'll give him another letter and I would suggest you guys tell us to start fines, at the next meeting.
Listen,
If he hasn't, fines are gonna start at the next meeting. That way we can start him if he hasn't complied.
I think that this whole issue has to go to a next level. Is the threat of finding enough? I don't know, but I mean,
We threatened him before.
He's been threatened with finding with the cease and desist.
Been threatened for years. He don't blink.
You know,
He doesn't.
can't threaten him.
One of the issues with the
CO.
finding is you can appeal it to the citation hearing boards, which we do not have.
You have
then we need to get them.
to have 3 people appointed.
Right, we don't have any.
Can we arrest?
Bill can, but
Can I arrest? Do I get a badge?
Bill,
Oh, very,
Yeah. That's a whole different.
that's under very limited circumstances. Very
Keep
extremely.
So I would say, Jim, if you can put that
yeah, well,
1 through 10 list of the expectations that need to be done.
okay.
For your approval
Yeah.
and the timeline of when they need to be done. And if it should have been done, then just note that it should have been done with the expectation, with the new plan next month for risk funding. I mean, that's.
So it makes sense to do it.
He has an engineer and this plan was dated January 4, so it's not that there isn't somebody that he can go to.
Would it make sense to put Instagram with it?
Well, it's not even the plan needs to be done. The plan's done. What he's gotta do is the
The plan
work.
doesn't really meet the requirements.
No, it doesn't. That's one of the issues, is the plan has to be revised to meet the requirements. And then two, he's gotta do the work. So there's gotta be schedule associated with that, right? A scope and a timeframe.
Yeah, but you also want to have historical to it too. But this is not the first time that we've made this attempt. This is,
Yeah.
this started, I'm making this up right now, but this started in 2020. This is what happened, 21, 22, 23, 24, all the way up to present day, that these are the actions that Naugatuck has done to try to support the effort. Help, our town engineer tried to help, everybody's been trying to help you. Then we went to the cease and desist in this timeframe, then we, you know what I mean?
We could also list the things that we asked him to address and he did not address.
And when.
Since our meeting on March 26th.
Right.
And when you ask them, so that way it's
Right.
not like, oh, where does this coming from? I have, yeah, you sent me a cease and desist, but everything else, I thought it was just discussions. No, these were actual official dates of record.
Right, he was asked to appear here, he didn't appear, he was asked to provide silt fencing in the back, he didn't do that, he was asked to seed the entire front lawn, he did not do that. And he could have been here to answer why he couldn't do it. Well, we don't have that answer.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'll take care of it.
All right. Commissioner comments, Neil?
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
Do you know what Tilly links are? Eileen?
I didn't think so.
Ed, do you have anything?
Look it up.
Let's
You're not old
see,
enough.
next month, we're probably going to have a special permit application for the parcel across the street from the Hershey property. All right, Civil One is doing that also, that's a large amount of excavation with a retail plaza potentially to go in there.
Cutting out the lawn.
Yes, they had come to us before we did
Remember that.
some stuff. They came to us originally with an application. We said it wasn't good enough. they've just gotten around to getting that done, but I have it downstairs. They asked me to hold off for a month just because, they felt we had a lot on our agenda right now to look at. There might be some action finally on the Hershey property. All right, so, that could be coming in eventually soon.
When's the cannabis place gonna open?
You know, I don't know on that. There's a lot of activity on that with the request for the sidewalk that we put in.
Well, it looks like
We
it's
asked.
on, they're ready to go.
They are. I think the issue right now is with the state working with them on the sidewalk
Like Chipotle.
on that. They did talk to me about that, trying to see if we could give up on doing that, and I said, no. I haven't heard back. I said, well, you gotta come in and tell us everything you did with the state. I know you wrote a memo for them.
I did.
Yeah, you wrote a memo, saying something that you agreed with on maybe the width of the sidewalk or something like that.
I thought it was reasonable to allow them to go to 4 feet wide.
Where the
This-
guardrail is?
Where there's a section of guardrail that can't make it, the state. Said,
And
no,
pole.
say, sorry.
I know.
Part of it
Relocate the
is,
guardrail, relocate the telephone pole.
part of it is dealing with Eversource with the utility pole there. Eversource is extremely slow at moving that type of stuff, and I think that pole has to be moved for that.
They raised our rates pretty quick.
I think they waited too long to address the issue.
Yeah, they
Rather than
went
starting
gangbusters on
day
the bill.
one, saying we need to put a sidewalk in, how do we do it? They wait till everything else is, oh, we need a sidewalk.
I mean, I don't know what the activity is inside the building.
Probably not
I
something
haven't
that
seen a lot of working there,
Quick and easy, put a sidewalk in, call.
but it seems like all their landscaping, their parking lot things that they had said is all done, so. We'll see what's going on with that.
Do we need to consider a different place for a meeting for, next month and, public hearings? Makes sense to think about it now, no?
It's possible, I guess we could see if there's gonna be outreach. We're talking in regard to to next door. We'll see what kind of,
You can always, want to be large enough. Where else is, well, besides here, we have it's larger.
well, it's the Board of Ed. You know, we did that with wetlands. I mean, our first time we did have it here with that wetlands meeting and then switched out there once we knew the amount of people.
You can always do that again, too. Unless you report it in advance.
I can check.
You can let us know Tuesday the 14th. Because it is a special meeting, we can relocate if we have to.
We have to notice that, right?
Special meeting would be noticed as the location. It's gonna be a special meeting no matter what. So the only things we'll be able to address on that will be items on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's a.
Any comments from the public?
Just one, Chairman, thank you commissioners for all that you did tonight. You had a busy agenda. I appreciate all that you do. Michelle, thank you. All the best. And Attorney Fitzpatrick, counsel, who's better than you?
No, but there's a few people I'd like you to tell that to, but I.
Any comments from the public? You guys good?
No, we have.
I have,
Come on up. State your name.
business, okay, Pete McNicholas, 1335 New Haven Road. Concerning the property at 1347 New Haven Road with the building of a restaurant, a store, and 3 residences. And a 3,000 gallon septic tank. And, I see in the zoning laws for the aquifer that your zoning law 28.7 subsurface sewage disposal, any residential building with 3 or more dwelling units shall be connected to a sanitary sewer. This is a septic tank. This is the pinnacle of our aquifer. You can't ask for a more sensitive piece of property. Its property is right in front of our public well, which is a groundwater well. All public wells, especially the ones built in the years those are very shallow, and they all have groundwater. And I want to know, I don't understand why he was
granted a septic tank when it states right here, does somebody please explain that to me? Why it states right here in the aquifer zoning laws, any residential building with 3 or more dwelling units, that'd be the 3 apartments on the top, shall be connected to a sanitary sewer. I also have concerns that the septic tank is also way too small. He's trying to stay underneath the 2,000 gallon limits, so he doesn't have to worry about putting in a class 5 septic system. When you add up the residences, the first residence is 1,250 gallons, followed by every bedroom thereafter is 250, so that brings you up to 2,250. The restaurant is 30 seats, that's 900 gallons, he does have that in his plans, he doesn't address any residential. He has that in his plans, we're already over 3,000. Now let's get the store, that's 200 gallons more. The other thing that doesn't get addressed is takeout. Takeout is 5 gallons per order. According to Google in Connecticut, it's 37 orders a day was the average. So that adds another 185 gallons. And I don't know a restaurant in the world that doesn't have a dishwasher. That would add another 50. So we're really close to 3,600 gallons instead of his proposed 3,000 gallons.
Gee, where's this property?
1347 on New Haven Road, you walk past Walmart. You'll see where they built all the new stockade
Yeah,
fence.
okay.
Okay, it's right there, directly behind it is the well house. That well house pumps 208 gallons a minute into Connecticut public water supply. This is the water that we all drink. If you're on Connecticut water supply, this is your water. And I don't want to be known as a town with tainted water. You know, I mean, not only can somebody get sick, but like I was talking to the Attorney General's office, he says in Bridgeport, this just happened, property values are falling into the toilet, he said, his words. Literally. So I really think that this whole situation, this is a really bad situation. And then I also checked into the federal Clean Water Act that states any groundwater from a well that's less than 50 feet, and this public well is less than 50 feet. 50 feet is the max they drove them. This is a 4 foot in diameter gravel filled well. In the 60s, the casing broke. They brought 3 pumps in that pumped 2,600 gallons a minute. They literally flooded the whole back, and the brook, almost created a flood. And it took them 3 days to pump the water level down 10 feet so they could fix the casing. That's how much water is coming in there, and it is not bedrock water, this is surface water. So according to that, the federals, they state that any well that's drawing water from less than 50 feet or less, whatever your septic is, which his is 200 feet, you have to go 50% more, so he has to put his septic system out at 300 feet. But the bottom line here is, I wanna know how do you get around a zoning law like this? That's my question, how? Because I wish somebody could explain it to me, because this is, to me, is absolutely wrong.
So the building, as we know, was approved in 2009
Yeah,
as the same size. It is currently still before the Naugatuck Valley Health District.
yep,
And Connecticut Water Company did provide us with information for the aquifer when we did ask them to. I believe they're still looking at it for their state permits, and I think the State Department of Health is looking at it. We have no authority over the health department with the septic system on that.
I understand that, but it shouldn't even be acknowledged as septic according to this. This is,
Well,
you're right, once the water
I
is
understand
gone,
what
it's
you're
gone.
saying, but it's not us that makes that decision.
It's not, it's got.
So
Well,
again,
why
that's
do we
before
ever-
the health department.
Well, how come you stopped the guy up the street when he wanted to put the Burger King up there? Because you told him he had a sewer, he couldn't afford the sewer. You stopped him, you closed the beauty parlor. Even the guy up the hill over there who's got, who repairs cars he's not even on the aquifer.
Well, some of that stuff, it depends upon if they were doing a regulated activity. He's not
Right.
proposing any regulated activity. a beauty parlor may be
Yes.
considered a regulated
Okay, yes,
activity.
It is, it
So
is.
that's why.
And
it
they
could
were
have been stopped.
closed. That was fine.
That
Nobody
could be
complained.
stopped.
But what about the guy who wanted to have the Burger King?
Well, I don't know anything about.
Well,
the Burger
anyways, he was
King,
told he had a sewer. My thing is it's put here to protect us. Nobody here I can say is a hydraulic engineer. Anybody here a hydraulic engineer? I know I graduated forestry and I had to take some hydraulic engineering, but I can guarantee you, I don't know that much. But I know enough of how water moves. The other thing is when his perk tests are 12 years old. The state only recognizes 5 years back. So his perk tests are 12 years old, the pit test is 12 years old. Nobody's performed a pit test or a perk test, it's very cheap to do that. I mean, this guy's got a construction company, how expensive is that? The other thing is with the climate change, the water table come up. I can prove that right now because my basement for 70 years, never got, 68 years, never got water. 2 years ago, all of a sudden started getting water in the basement. It's got to the point that I sealed all the walls, well, the water comes up my chimney and out through my clean out door. So that'll put the water table, that's at a rain 1 inch an hour for 2 hours. So that'll put your water table at about 4 feet. And if you put your leach fields in and you don't have at least 2 feet of clearance, once that they're in the water, there's nothing metabolizes. The sewage goes through as sewage all the way through. It's just like drugs. I mean, our water systems are fighting off the birth control and heart medications because once they go in the system, they come out the system the same way they go in. There's no
And so
change.
who's responsible for?
It's the health department.
The health department.
All right, so-
Will
This is
permit the
DPH.
septic.
Does, I think
Okay,
somebody,
so-
if I would see, is at least somebody should call and say, listen, our zoning laws state that anything over a 2-family has to be, nobody's complaining about what he wants to build.
Have they come in front of us yet?
Yeah, they were here
Yeah.
February.
February, okay.
And Scott Duda changed his system so many times, because I know I fought him. He went from apartments to offices. He lowered his septic system down to 1,500 gallons, so he
So
wouldn't have.
what are you looking at us for?
I'm looking and telling you, if this guy wants to build what he wants to build, put a sewer in, or build what's appropriate. He could build up to a 2-family. I imagine he could build a couple of offices in there, but then he's got to worry about stormwater mitigation. This is the most sensitive piece of property. When you're all drinking carcinogen loaded waters or sewage loaded waters and cholera counts are up and everything. You can
All right, so
remember this.
we appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
Right.
Let the attorney sit with Ed and go over.
Sure.
What's happened in the
Basics.
past, and then.
Basically, it's
deal with the health department.
Right.
And see what you can come up with.
I know
yeah.
the State Department of Health is looking at it,
All right.
along with Naugatuck Valley Health District. And the Connecticut Water Company is the one that brought in.
Right.
State.
But we're
Department.
also talking federal, because we're talking, a very shallow well, it accepts groundwater. That's the scary part. This well, it's pumping 208 gallons a minute. It's like you putting a 5-gallon pail out, under it every second.
All of that's
One tank.
They went
That's
through it.
All of that's already been mentioned. I think the biggest question here is the fact that in our zoning regs, it states in the zoning regulations, which is what this board is responsible for, it has a very specific call out for 3-family to sewer. And I think that's the biggest.
That's the
question
biggest
gentleman
thing,
is bringing up, is if that's in our zoning laws. And
In a residential district.
Yeah.
This is not
Well,
residential.
no, but
It
it's,
is a mixed use.
so,
That's why I have to review the file.
Right,
I
exactly.
review it with the zoning officer, and then I'll we'll see what regs apply, if it applies, and then.
And when
we'll provide
we
a
did talk to
report
the applicant about this, and they might be more than willing to go back to the 2 and the 1. Where they had it before, it was 2 apartments and 1 office.
yeah, okay. But that still would have to be sewered, because you got a restaurant and and nobody's even talking about the fog system.
Again, that's not us.
There's no, I
So
don't
let
see
me-
anything,
let
I
me-
don't see anything there to, on the maintenance of it though. That's,
I mean, they did respond to the applicant who went through, he's changed his grease traps, he's changed his sanitary system. He's moved them in locations on the property. He's been doing stuff that they did give to him from the water company and,
well,
you know, that was all stuff that was part of our approval that we did.
Let the attorney.
Sure.
let
and
him talk.
can I get an email or something that, for decisions made?
Please provide the staff with your cell phone number and your email address, Mr. Litvick, and then we'll.
It's because once the water's gone, it's gone, plus the fact that this could turn into a nightmare according to what the district attorney says, because now all of a sudden town could be liable for class action suits and all of that is what he's telling me. Now, I don't know anything about the law, but you know better than me, so I'm concerned there too about that. And it's kind of a ridiculous thing that we're gonna mess with our own water. I mean, the reason those wells were put in there originally with its power, the fire hydrants is Naugatuck grows. They started using the wells 20 years ago. So this is the water you drink if you're on Connecticut water. And I just want to make everybody aware of that, you know? And like it says, once it's sick, you'll be you'll be known as Bristol too. Or like they said, Bridgeport, they already have that problem, he says, and people are flipping out. Okay.
Maybe you have anything?
Yeah.
No, I'm good, I can.
Executive session?
No,
We're waiting actually, as the judge will sign that.
1335.
It's been fully briefed,
At hotmail.com.
awaiting the argument.
Being decorated by.
He says.
Being decorated by.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Would always.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
14,
14, Tuesday the 14th.
514.
Thank you.
Be safe, everybody. Very.
Great. I can't,
Say that again?
I won't be able to. I'm working, because I have another meeting.